In the early 2000s, Blockbuster was the undisputed king of movie rentals, with thousands of stores and millions of loyal customers. But when a small startup called Netflix approached Blockbuster with a partnership opportunity, the idea of online DVD rentals seemed insignificant. Blockbuster ignored the threat and stuck to its traditional model. What happened next became one of the biggest business mistakes in history. While Netflix embraced technology and streaming, Blockbuster fell behind, eventually collapsing under the weight of its own complacency. Today, we will talk about why Blockbuster ignored Netflix and paid the price. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. The dominance of Blockbuster in the video rental industry. In the 1990s, Blockbuster was one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world. The brand dominated the home video rental market, with more than 9,000 stores globally and millions of loyal customers visiting every weekend to rent movies. Families would walk into brightly lit stores filled with shelves of VHS tapes and later DVDs, browsing for the latest Hollywood releases. At its peak, Blockbuster generated billions of dollars in annual revenue and employed tens of thousands of workers. The company's business model relied heavily on physical retail stores, where customers rented movies for a limited time and paid late fees if they returned them after the due date. These late fees became a surprisingly large portion of Blockbuster's income, reportedly generating hundreds of millions of dollars each year. Because of this overwhelming market dominance and steady profits, Blockbuster's leadership believed their business model was nearly unbeatable. They assumed customers would always prefer visiting physical stores to rent movies. This confidence created a sense of security inside the company, making executives slow to recognize potential threats. When new technologies and competitors began emerging in the late 1990s, Blockbuster believed its massive retail network and brand recognition would easily overpower any small startup attempting to disrupt the industry. 2. The birth of Netflix and a different vision. In 1997, two entrepreneurs, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, founded Netflix with a completely different vision for movie rentals. Instead of operating physical stores, Netflix introduced an online platform where customers could order DVDs through the internet and receive them by mail. At the time, this idea seemed unusual because e-commerce was still in its early stages. However, the founders believed that the internet could eventually transform how people accessed entertainment. Netflix initially allowed customers to rent individual DVDs through mail delivery, but the company soon introduced a subscription model where users could pay a fixed monthly fee and rent unlimited movies without worrying about late fees. This approach solved one of the biggest frustrations customers had with traditional rental stores. Netflix also used recommendation algorithms to suggest movies based on user preferences, something physical stores could never replicate easily. Although Netflix was still small compared to Blockbuster, its business model focused on convenience, technology, and customer satisfaction. The company's leadership believed that as internet usage increased and shipping logistics improved, online rentals could become the future of home entertainment. Unfortunately for Blockbuster, its executives underestimated how quickly this new model could grow and transform consumer habits. 3. The famous meeting, Netflix's $50 million offer. One of the most famous moments in business history occurred in the year 2000 when Netflix approached Blockbuster with a partnership proposal. At the time, Netflix was struggling financially and looking for support from a larger company. Reed Hastings and his team visited Blockbuster executives to propose selling Netflix for approximately $50 million. The idea was that Netflix would handle Blockbuster's online business while Blockbuster would promote the service through its thousands of retail stores. However, Blockbuster's leadership did not take the offer seriously. Executives believed that Netflix's mail-based rental model was too small and unlikely to threaten their retail empire. Some reports even suggest that the meeting ended with laughter from Blockbuster executives who considered the proposal unrealistic. From their perspective, paying $50 million for a small internet startup seemed unnecessary when Blockbuster was already earning billions annually. This decision later became one of the most regretted missed opportunities in corporate history. Within a decade, Netflix would grow into a global entertainment powerhouse worth hundreds of billions of dollars, while Blockbuster would struggle to survive. The rejected deal perfectly illustrates how large companies sometimes underestimate disruptive startups simply because they appear small or unconventional at the beginning. 4. The fatal dependence on late fees. Another major reason Blockbuster ignored Netflix was its dependence on late fee revenue. Late fees were a core part of Blockbuster's business model and generated enormous profits for the company. Customers who forgot to return movies on time often had to pay additional charges, which significantly increased Blockbuster's earnings. In fact, late fees reportedly accounted for around 15% of the company's total revenue. Because of this financial structure, Blockbuster had little incentive to remove late fees or drastically change its rental system. Meanwhile, Netflix built its entire service around eliminating late fees entirely. Customers could keep DVDs as long as they wanted and simply return them whenever they were ready for the next movie. This customer-friendly policy quickly attracted users who were tired of Blockbuster's penalties. Over time, Netflix's model proved far more appealing to consumers, especially busy households who did not want to worry about return deadlines. By the time Blockbuster realized customers preferred the flexibility of Netflix's system, it was already losing market share. Although Blockbuster eventually attempted to remove late fees in 2005, the decision came too late and cost the company hundreds of millions in lost revenue without successfully stopping Netflix's growth. 5. The rise of internet technology and streaming. While Netflix initially focused on DVD by mail services, the company always planned to take advantage of improving internet technology. As broadband internet became more widespread in the mid-2000s, Netflix began investing heavily in digital streaming technology. In 2007, Netflix launched its streaming platform, allowing users to watch movies and TV shows instantly online without waiting for DVDs in the mail. This innovation dramatically changed the entertainment industry by making content available on demand. Consumers no longer needed to drive to rental stores or wait for delivery. They could simply click and start watching within seconds. Blockbuster, on the other hand, was still focused primarily on its physical store network. 6. The burden of physical retail stores. Blockbuster's massive network of physical stores, once its greatest strength, eventually became one of its biggest weaknesses. Maintaining thousands of retail locations required enormous expenses, including rent, utilities, employees' salaries, and inventory management. As customer traffic declined due to online rentals and streaming services, these operational costs became increasingly difficult to sustain. Netflix, by contrast, operated with a far lighter infrastructure focused on technology, logistics, and distribution centers rather than expensive storefronts. This difference allowed Netflix to scale its business more efficiently while keeping costs lower. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up, leave a comment, and click the button to subscribe.